and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. I am Hamza Idris. The fight against terrorism and other crimes in Nigeria has been on for over a decade. This has led to the increase in security budget to equip the armed forces to decimate these criminal elements. Despite huge spendings, thousands of people have been injured, killed, or displaced. With Nigeria inching closer to the general elections in 2023, speculations about the possibility of the elections not holding in some areas in Northeast, Northwest, and Southeast due to security situation there has been generating discussions in many quarters. However, recent strides by the security forces have started reducing tension. So tonight we ask, what is the motivation behind the successes recorded? Is it the directive of the president? Was there a change of tactics in the approach by various security agencies? How can they sustain the tempo? To help us understand the issues, we are joined by the spokesman for the Nigeria Air Force, Air Commodore Edward Gobwet. He's joining us online. Air Commodore, you are welcome to the program. We are also joined by Brigadier General Kuka Sheka, retired, who is also joining us virtually. You are welcome. And in the studio here, we have AIG Wilson Enalegu, retired. You are welcome to the studio, sir.
Yeah, I'm delighted to be here.
We also have security expert, Dr. Yahuza Gezo. You are welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We will take a short break, and when we return, the program starts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I think I will start with Commodore Gobwet. If you can hear me, in the last couple of weeks, there is an aura of peace in almost all the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. From your findings, from your experience, from your interactions with all the stakeholders, what is really responsible for this aura of peace across the country?
First of all, let me thank you for having me on this program. And Trust TV or Daily Trust as an entity is one medium that we in Nigerian Air Force respect a lot. And we've appreciated dealing with you guys for quite a long time. Indeed, I saw the weekly security review you did today in today's Daily Trust. And obviously, I tried to find whether we'll see anywhere marked red, and everywhere is just looking green, which based on your map, green means there is chances of 0 to 1, incidents of terrorism. But that in itself is a very, very good pass mark for the armed forces. And there is nothing other than to state here that the reason why we've been seeing this level of successes is purely because of the dedication, the determination of members of armed forces who have been superintended upon by a team of 4 very senior officers who have shown Nigerians that they are ready to get this security situation under check. And of that, I'm talking about the Chief of Defense Staff and the service chiefs. We all are aware that since they came on board, they have been able to let Nigerians know that under them, jointness, collaboration, and synergy will be what will be guiding them and their troops as they find ways of decimating the terrorists that have continued to make life unbearable for all Nigerians. And I believe it's the effect of that cooperation and synergy that we are beginning to see. Of course, it couldn't have happened a month or 2 after they took office, but I think basically what we're seeing is the result of hard work, the result of commitment, the result of synergy, the result of coordination that we're seeing. And when you look at the entire setting of all our operational theaters, you see that everybody is working hand in hand. There is no seniority. There is no this idea of one agency trying to fight for a single trophy and all of that. We all know that the trophy is to make sure that the environment is safe for our peace-loving Nigerians to go about their normal businesses. So in a nutshell, we're seeing the outcome of cooperation and synergy and jointness is being exhibited in the theaters of operation.
All right. Thank you very much. I will come back to you. AIG, you heard what the Air Commodore said.
That's true.
Yes, that everywhere is green. You served in the armed forces.
The police.
Yeah, now you watched from the outside. And as I asked him, in the last couple of weeks, we have seen peace, let me put it mildly. And in our paper, for instance, we reported on Sunday how some Boko Haram fighters drowned in a river in Bama, that is the central part of Borno. And today, we also reported, because of operations by military operators, about 200 Boko Haram fighters have been neutralized. Let me use your language. What is your take? What is really happening, maybe? Because you watch from the outside, but I'm sure you are also an insider up till now.
What we are beginning to witness is very reassuring. And like when I've had occasions to address the issues of insecurity in Nigeria, I've always remarked on one thing, and I'm happy my brother, the Commodore, emphasized it. Not working in silos, but working collaboratively in a coordinated fashion. Once you do that, you are going to see results. Once you get, you follow the path of intelligence and you action them. You follow the path of technology, ICT, you are going to get a result. Once you have the confidence and the respect of our various communities and people, you are going to have result. And once you have the resources, and the government begin to up the resources in terms of equipment, in terms, again, of welfare, all these are motivating factors. And so when I watched the briefing by the Minister of Information and his counterparts in Defense Police and Interior, is very reassuring. What the language you see from there is that we are together.
Yeah.
That's and I have had calls to talk about it. People have got to know what you are doing. That gives them assurance.
Yeah.
That gives them, that makes them understand that something is being done. And I pray that this is not going to be the last of such a briefing. I'm happy the Minister of Information said it's that the briefings are going to be regular. But like we have always emphasized, once you begin to get things under control, it is the time to work harder. It's like when I was walking into the studio, I saw your beautiful lawn outside.
Yes.
If you don't keep it trimmed and you think, oh, you have a beautiful lawn, it's going to begin to grow weeds and it will be distorted.
Yes.
So what the situation we are witnessing presently emphasizes is that we've got to work harder in order to sustain this level of quietness and calmness. And it's very reassuring because for a long time I've not read that
security breach
has been breached, and that all we've been hearing is some drowned in some criminals, terrorists drowned in a river, some disseminated, some neutralized. I think these are news that will be reassuring, and it will encourage Nigerians to come forward with information, because when you think there is capacity for rapid response, it will encourage you to come forward. So let the security agencies work collaboratively. No need seeking vainglory. All we are trying to do is keep our country safe and secure so that we can attract foreign direct investment and our people can go about their normal lawful business without being tensed.
Yes, the
Thank
unnecessary tense. Yeah. General Kukasheka, if you can hear me, today there was a briefing, as the AIG rightly pointed out, and the Minister of Information was there, Minister of Interior was there, Minister of Police Affairs was also there, among other key government operatives. And the takeaways, too, the Minister of Interior made mention that by December, they are optimistic that they will wipe out the remnants of Boko Haram, terrorists, ISWAP, and other criminals, especially in northeast and northwest. And then the second issue he mentioned was that this is the best of time for Nigerians. What is your perspective on this prediction?
I think, first and foremost, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to, be part of this very important program. Yes, we have been witnessing quite unprecedented success in, counter-insurgency operations, and of course, the fight against various security challenges, especially that of banditry and kidnapping. But that notwithstanding, I would rather not use the word wipe out, by December. It is very tall order, but at the same time, I remain very, very optimistic in the sense that the security forces are doing marvelously well, and I can attest to that given the fact that I have a first-hand information of what is going on, especially in the northeastern part of the country and the northwestern part of the country and some other places. I think we need to support and encourage them to also give them benefit of doubt. They are working towards a determined end of making Nigeria safe and secure, and I have no doubt about the fact that before December, definitely we will notice more improvement in terms of peace and security in this country, because the security forces are doing marvelous effort. And if I may add to what Edward had earlier mentioned about jointness and level of cooperation and support among the security architecture, I think there is also one important aspect that we tend not to understand, the level of proactiveness and responsiveness on the part of the security forces. Whenever there are issues, Nigerians are becoming more enlightened and more concerned about security challenges and more cooperative. And once they passed out information, definitely it is not taken with levity. I know that they are right from the Chief of Defense Staff he mentioned down to the service chiefs and the various commanders of the field, they almost immediately react. I know that they are facing challenges, but I think they are doing their utmost best, and that is what the Honorable Minister is hinging on. Suffice to mention, actually, there is so much on the part of us Nigerians to continue to support the security forces, because the whole thing is a collective responsibility. The security forces are constrained by technology, numbers, and other things. Therefore, average Nigerians will complement that by being more security conscious and having faith and trust in the security agencies, so that they will, oblige them with timely and accurate information about issues and support them in any way they can to ensure that they do the right thing. And beyond that, again, there is issue of looking at security as a collective responsibility, especially among those who are statutorily responsible, for safety and security of Nigerian society. Not necessarily even the security forces. There are people in a position of authority to see that they give all the necessary support also, to the security forces so that they can do more. I have absolute confidence and trust in the security forces because they have done it elsewhere, they have been doing it. And I dare say, unlike other countries that have been grappling with insurgency for more than half a century, Nigerian armed forces were able and security forces were able to deal with the issue within just 12 years. And I believe, had it been that we up the tempo of the support and cooperation to them, I believe they could do much, much better than what they have done now. And I believe they will also do. So I feel let's remain optimistic despite all that, but a lot of things need to be in place. You know, the continuous enlightenment of the Nigerian society to give the necessary support and cooperation, because some of them really unknowingly they are, you know, tacitly supporting or cooperating with these criminal elements within the society by just keeping quiet. So they have to also up their game by, you know, being proactive and, you know, being forthcoming with information, because some of them, especially those involved in banditry and kidnapping, they have associates within the society, and we need to really fish them out, assist the security agencies to, you know, with information.
Thank you very much, General. I will come back to you. Back in the studio here, Mr. Gezo. What do you think really happened? Because the real change in the narrative was after President Muhammadu Buhari issued a directive to the service chiefs to actually checkmate the activities of these criminals in different parts of the country. Do you think that played a role, or there is something you that is observing some of these happenings from the rear?
Well, I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be part of the discussion. It is obvious, you know, when you have the commander in the commitment and the statement and executive order from the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces for the Republic of Nigeria, sometimes it is being taken seriously, and sometimes it is being, you know, I have made use of two words why we could not achieve and sustain tempo of dealing with this insurgency over the years is because of two things, as mentioned by the Kuka Sheka, as the Edward, as well as the AIG. You know, there is issues of negligence and internal sabotage. Like mentioned by Kudara, and some unscrupulous elements that have been sabotaging the efforts. But due to improvement in synergy in terms of operation, the tactical and managing the situation, and also the cooperation and the partnering with the public in terms of managing and generating information, especially intelligence, and also imputing it and transmitting it into the operations of both the airstrike as well as the land operations. These have really helped. And in addition, you know, if not, sometimes we feel that the services are not doing anything, or they are not doing enough. Yes, of course, you may say, because you are a layman by the side, but definitely if they were not doing anything, myself and you and everybody that have been saying that the services haven't been doing anything, we wouldn't have been able to even open the door of our house, not even to sneeze, even ordinarily in the midnight for you to snore. Kind of things like that.
In this studio
yeah,
for this
and
program.
to be no, I'm even talking about even managing yourself within your own room.
Yeah.
So definitely the services have been doing the best they could, even though they have had a lot of frustrations here and there. And you know, even between you and your wife, or between you and your friend, or between you and your either colleague or neighbor, try as much as you can to avoid having issue of frustration. You know, when you frustrate somebody, the way he or she will react, that reaction will definitely undermine certain circumstances, and definitely part of it is part of those reasons that made it very, very difficult. Why? Because we found so many unscrupulous elements among the services that have been attributing and contributing and partnering with some of the so-called repentant bandits. And I never believe there is any repentant bandits. I never believe there is any repentant Boko Haram. I never believe, because I know the harm they cause is more dangerous, is better there in the forest than they're outside. So to some extent, we really have to commend the services, especially the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They have been doing very well. And the commitment, the statement made by Chief of Defense Staff, as well as the Chief of Army Staff, so many interviews and so many feedbacks. You know, before there was no feedback. Many operations, we only had it from international media and so on and so forth. But now there is a lot of improvements in terms of providing feedback.
Thank you very much. Yes. Air Commodore, we have this report that the terrorists are actually now using the Northeast as cells for training of upcoming insurgents. And after training them, they now deploy them especially to Northwest and parts of North Central. Are you aware of this? And what are you doing in terms of checkmating these activities? Because what we heard was that they no longer find it really relishing to attack communities in the Northeast because they are now using it as quiet area to now train their operatives.
Okay, well, let me just say here that this is not a new thing. For quite a while, we've known that the Lake Chad area especially has been converted into various training camps for these terrorists. We've also known that that same area has been more of a conduit point where some of these arms that these criminals use have been brought into the country. And if you've been following most of our operations, you realize that we have concentrated a lot of efforts in that particular area. As a matter of fact, about 2 weeks ago, I'm aware that I think the story came out too that airstrikes targeted Training Camp 3. Training Camp 3 has been very notorious, for being very, very active in training most of these terrorists. So we are aware of that, and we have not allowed them to continue to use that point as a training area or a staging point, so as to be able to now distribute the other terrorists to other parts of the country. So we have been, on their tails on those aspects, and I believe that as at the moment, they are fully aware that if they have been using those areas as their training areas, definitely it has drastically reduced. The last time we hit that area, I think we took out close to about 40 terrorists and of course their trainees. So you're fully aware of that. I think the most important thing here, I think, is perhaps we should ask ourselves what efforts are we all making as we begin to see semblance of peace returning to most of these areas, especially in the Northeast. I can confidently tell you that to a large extent, the Northeast is almost done in terms of these criminals having this freedom to continually move around and cause havoc on innocent Nigerians. They don't have that because they know that we're watching them, and they know that we're going to strike. The army will be there to mop up, and of course, even the civilian JTF have been very, very helpful, and of course, all other security agents are there waiting for them to venture their heads out, and of course, take them out. So, I think the essence now, the important thing is, what are the steps that we all as institutions, we all as agencies of government, NGOs, and the rest are going to do to make sure that these areas, once they are free, what are we going to do to make sure that we don't just free these areas and just walk away, and then these people come back again and it becomes back to square one again, So these are the areas that all the service chiefs, the CDS, the Chief of Air Staff, and all the services have been saying that a whole of society approach, a whole of government approach have to be involved in this situation that we find ourselves, because it is not just the armed forces that can solve this problem.
Exactly, and this is where I want to bring in. This is where I want to bring in AIG to actually shed more light on the silent issues he raised. You see, AIG, the Commodore said they are doing their best. They have identified some of these cells that the terrorists are using, and they have decimated them. Now, level of cooperation by community leaders, because for a very long time, people, especially in the security cycle, have been accusing collaboration between people in communities and these criminals. Going forward with the achievements recorded so far, what call will you make, and how can the relationship be strengthened between security operatives, community leaders, clerics, and the rest?
Yeah, I want to start by saying something, that we've got to build on the momentum generated by the recent successes. Is very critical. Okay, but coming back to your question,
Yes.
I want you to look at it this way. The Insaru group within the Beningwari area sold a dummy to the community that they were going to defend them against the bandits.
Yes.
And it was even reported that they were making gifts, making it possible for them to go to farm. I think the police, the military, and other security agencies have got to work on the heart and minds of this community, that they don't become gullible to the antics
Yeah.
of these terrorists. And how do you go about that? It's about respect for human rights. You've got to treat them almost as partners. And if you are going to build a strong partnership with the community, you've got to understand their mind. What are those things that are germane to those communities? When you understand them, it's very easy to get them on your side. And that is where the Nigeria Police Force of recent has taken the issue of discipline very seriously. And you see the IG taking very firm disciplinary action against officers.
Yeah.
Because if you have the public, it's like fish and water. If the water is not comfortable for the fish cannot operate.
Exactly.
So it is important that we recognize this element of getting the community to our side. And in getting them to our side, first of all, when they give you information, they want to see how you handle that information.
Yes, whether you protect them.
Yes. They want to see proactivity. They want to see you go against these people, these hoodlums who are doing this. So when you begin to win their hearts and mind, when you begin to discourage them for groups like Ansaru and other terrorist organizations, not finding foothold in our communities to begin to become like good men. Of course they aren't, because they have a perverse ideology that seeks to destroy and make our communities unsafe. So my take, therefore, is the security agencies continue to build that partnership, build that community relationship. And that's where every police post, every police division, every police command must actively engage the community. And once the community bring information, their level of response must be such that the community will have confidence. Not that if we tell them, oh, they cannot match these hoodlums. Because once you give them the impression that the community, that the security agencies don't have that level of force to be able to go after these criminals, then they get discouraged. So in winning them over, we must show capacity. We must show proactivity. We must show good response. All this will happen. And then discipline, so that we don't, the communities are like the water we exist in. If the water is not comfortable, the fish cannot be comfortable.
At all. Yes. Thank you very much for your contributions. We will take a short break now, and when we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us if you are just joining. Thank you very much. just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Remember, you can follow the conversation on our various social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, maybe I will get to General Kukasheka. You have heard what the AIG and the Air Commodore said in terms of sustaining the tempo by having communities working in cohort with security operatives. But there is this allegation that some security operatives serve as informants also. Many have been arrested and many have been jailed, and this has scared people in various communities from volunteering information. How do you think this problem can be addressed so that various communities will have peace, they will be willing to cooperate, and this issue of complicity will disappear?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm really sorry. Sometimes there was a power outage, and for quite a while you have not seen me, so I lost track of what is going on. But I was able to grasp what AIG Inalegu was saying. And they are quite right in the fact that we need to get reassurance from the security forces, given the fact that some few bad acts were, compromising, the security of some of the operations, But the good thing about it is that, various services that they had such bad acts, they were quick to, investigate and find out such things and met out various disciplinary measures against them. But beyond that, and I know they're taking far more proactive measures to ensure that whichever information, whatever information is given is, taken into confidence, and most importantly, is being acted upon. So there is nowhere you have a perfect system, and what is most important, if there are breaches here and there, what do you do about that? And I think they are doing very well. Take, for instance, I know the military, they have standing court martials, both in Abuja and at the theater of command. That to tell you the level of seriousness they take issues of discipline, whether it is even minor misdemeanor, talk less of a very heinous crime, of divulging information or, jeopardizing the operation, etc. So the long and short of it is that we still have to, crave the indulgence of Nigerian society to continue to give the security forces the benefit of doubt, to continue to support in any way they can, because there is a limit to which these security forces could perform without the support of the members of the public. And they should know that they are performing these duties on behalf of the Nigerian society. Therefore, everybody always has a point of duty to see how best he or she can support. And it might not necessarily, the other support, even by way of encouraging them whenever they have done good things, and by way of advising them in any way you can, and by way of supplying information. And I can rest assure you, definitely they will act on that information, and it will have in big way, in solving some of the security challenges. It has happened several times. If you look at it, most of the successes they have recorded, it was based on the information provided by, law-abiding citizens of this country. And the more of it we have, the better. And of course, they know that to whom much is given, much is also expected in terms of, protecting the source of the information and making sure that you act on that information. But beyond the military and the security forces, I kept on saying that we have to also, involve our criminal justice system, because it is not good enough for you to stake your life, get information, people will go and arrest the criminal or apprehend him, as the case may be, going through the judicial process only for you to see him a few months later on the street. Definitely, even without anybody telling, he would have sensed that somewhere somebody has snitched on him. Therefore, we have to look at it. I made reference to a particular instance some time ago, that somebody that was involved in kidnapping incidents in which no fewer than 5 policemen lost their precious lives. And what did he get? 7 years jail term. And you know, so that thing is very, very discouraging. So it is a kind of holistic approach, you know, involving, you know, the security forces and all other people involved in a criminal justice system, and of course the whole gamut of the Nigerian society. Everybody has a role to play. The level of law role varies from individuals and communities, you know, that are affected. But most importantly, the government always takes the leading role by apportioning tax and responsibility as enshrined in the National Security Strategies 2019, because everybody has a role to play. But beyond giving the role, to what extent are you empowering that person to ensure he or he
all right,
perform that role?
General, thank you very much. We will come back to you in a moment. Dr. Geso, we have discussed successes recorded, how to carry the tempo forward. But on a sad note, 44 worshippers were abducted from a Jumaat mosque in the Zugu community of Bukuyum in Zamfara state. They are now working on a farm belonging to bandits. Our reporters confirmed this for us. And the same attack was also, or similar, let me put it this way, in a mosque in Askira Uba local government area. Some people are really talking on these issues because of absence of civil authority after military operatives restore order by chasing out bandits or terrorists or whatever. What will you say on this, on restoration of civil authority in communities that have been cleared by our security operatives?
Well, thank you very much. I must to commend the effort being made by the armed forces and all the services in the areas of Northeast in terms of how they manage issues and how they treated. They were able to wipe out, or to some extent, kind of work every day and night in ensuring that they restore peace, and many of the even IDPs return back to their communities. But when you talk about the northwestern state, especially that of Zugu in Bukuyum community, there is still a lot of work to do. Let's not deceive ourselves. Let's be honest and sincere. What I have been saying is what I will repeat now, that the presence, the locations, the hideouts, the collaborators and corroborators and partners who are partnering with these criminals in all areas. Let's take, for example, when you take from the areas of Gidanjaja down to Zurmi, from Zurmi to Kaiwalamba, Dola Moriki, down to Faru, down to Maradun, and linking that belt, a geographical belt, to the areas, part of areas of Talata Mafara local government, down to Anka, to extreme end of Bukuyum, as well as part of Gumi and some territorial part of Mahuta in Zuru Emirate, and also down to Sakaba, and Sakaba to Zuru, and looking at the Munya forest, and it links with Binungwari, the old Binungwari town, and as well as the new Binungwari and some of the 6 political wards, which is under the custody of either Ansaru or bandits, which is quite unfortunate. So there is a lot of work to be done there. The bandits are there, their hideouts are known, and our operatives have not been able to reach out to these guys and do the needful. And I have been saying that there is need to do a lot of more collaboration and improve working relationships in terms of using a community-driven approach in order to address the problem and reach out to where these guys are and deal with them decisively. In this course, I'm encouraging the agile security armed forces and other security services to be more proactive, never to be discouraged. It's doable, and we can manage and we can restore peace in all the locations.
Yeah, the Chief of Air Staff few days ago at a conference said that lack of aviation fuel, if not checked, will affect the activities of the Air Force in checkmating activities of bandits and other sundry criminals. How can you amplify this call? Because definitely if the issue is not resolved, it will affect the activities you are carrying on. And this will be part of your final remarks in this conversation.
Well, I don't know whether I can amplify it anyway better than how the Chief of Air Staff has presented it. I think he has amplified it more than loud enough. Basically, the issue is this: the Air Force is not immune from the changes in prices of petroleum products that we also utilize in our aircraft and other machines. That was just all he was just trying to say. If, for instance, your budget says you are to buy fuel at 10 naira, and by the end of the month the fuel becomes 19 naira, then you know that it's not going to be easy for you to continue to do the same thing. You know, so all he was just he was just trying to reiterate was the need for us to begin to look for other ways of solving the problem, and he made some suggestions. You know, either to give a license to Nigerian Air Force to begin to bring in fuel for its own aircraft, or to begin to think of either constructing tank farms very close to some of these areas where this fuel are being dumped, so that it will be easy for the Air Force to have reservoirs that they can use that we can use for our operations. So the basic truth is the momentum for these operations must not be reduced, or it must not stop. We all know the implications of the momentum being reduced.
Yeah.
The chief has been very, very, very clear on his modus operandi. He has shown Nigerians that he is an operations person. He's not somebody that likes, looking at himself on TV and all of that. No, he just wants to face his work out there in the field and get things done.
Okay.
And how do you get these things done if you don't have the basic working tool, which is the A1s and all of those aviation fuels that we also use, like the commercial airlines. So he's just trying to just raise some concerns. But of course, the Air Force has also, at the moment, I don't think we have reached that point where the operations will be affected at the moment.
All right, thank you very much.
Other plans, yeah.
All right, thank you. General Kukasheka, the Jihad Analytics recently ranked Nigeria second as the most terrorized country in the world. And I think they took their data between, I think, January and June or thereabout. What is your take on this? And do you think with recent successes recorded, maybe the narrative will change by December or by next year around this time, when they will now give other rankings about terrorism around the world?
Well, you and I know that definitely they have a reason why they come out with such analysis and how they come about such analysis. But those of us that are residing in this wonderful country knows better. And I have no doubt about the fact that whether we record success or not, if their interest has not been addressed, it will be the same story. But I think so much as it is important because of, perception and of course, business opportunities and what have you, I think we should not worry much about it. We should go about doing the right thing to ensure that our country is safe and secure. It is the average Nigerian who will determine actually whether Nigeria is ranked at this or not, because everybody wants to sleep with his or her two eyes closed. And I know that the security forces are doing the best they could, and what it requires is continuous support. And beyond that, address some of the challenges being encountered. We talked about number, we talked about technology, we talked about equipment. I think Edward was putting it mildly. We should understand that so much as somebody talked about cost of education being higher, and he talked about he should try ignorance. We should know that security also costs so much, but it comes with a price, and those are not necessarily material.
Yes, it appears we lost audio from the side of General Kukasheka. Back in the studio, AIG, silence, fair enough, in Southeast, activities of IPOB have drastically gone down. Is it silence of the graveyard, or you think they have been suppressed? And how can we demilitarize our streets?
I think there's a need for addressing the issue of light weapons and small arms proliferation in our communities, because IPOB, ESN, and all the rest of them, the access to firearm must be diminished. And I think government should have a deliberate effort of disarmament in our society, communities. I think, I wouldn't say that it is all over, but I think the South is occupied by something different now. Okay. There is a movement, and I think that appears to have taken their attention. So that
is it the OB tsunami?
Yeah. So I think the security forces, the police, the Nigeria Police Force, and other security agencies must keep their eye on the Southeast, because you've got to see what is going to. There seems to be a lot of emotion in what is going on. So if we say, well, that place is quiet for now, but I know the Monday enforcement of no opening or no businesses is still on. But I want to touch quickly on what General touched on about the administration of criminal justice system, the judiciary, the correctional center, and the Nigeria Police Force. It is important to strengthen these this tripod, because we should be able to get conviction for felons when they are taken to court. They are supposed to be kept in custody without the possibility of them breaking out to do that. And so there is a need to also take the issue of the administration of criminal justice system. And again, in terms of the police primacy in internal security, the process that I have known for all along, because you raise an issue that if a community is liberated and is still vulnerable for these bandits to come back. So I know that there is a process of the military assistance to civil power. It takes a process. I think there is a need to look at this process and see how the process of the military coming to take over from the police, and then the police coming back to take it
from the military.
From the military,
demilitarize.
So the idea of the military assistance to civil power, that process has got to be reworked to ensure that there is a seamless process. Because, of course, when you talk of banditry, that's ordinarily criminal that the police
should handle.
That is properly.
Or even civil defense.
Yeah, the police, I know the police because in terms of mandate, in terms of primacy in internal security. So if the police is properly resourced, these are issues they can deal with. But when you have them embedded deep in the forest, of course, you need the Air Force, you need the army with heavier weaponry. But in our respective communities, the police is capable. And they are doing very well. Because when I looked at the Minister of Police Affairs, when I read through his note, I saw a lot of robustness in the achievements recorded by police. But there is a need for synergy. There is a need to come together. There is a need to de-emphasize vainglory. I did it. It should be we did it. And when we do that, we're going to have a safe and secure community. And all administration, the governors, the local government chairmen, community leaders, all these people working together and supporting security agencies, we will be able to sustain this level that we are celebrating today.
Yes, thank you very much. In just 30 seconds, to add to what he said, how do we demilitarize this? Because that is the only way. Yes, we know there is peace now. How do we sustain it? And then how do we demilitarize our towns and villages so that military operatives will go back to barrack, and then we have civil authority to attract investment?
Well, the easiest,
the
easiest and one simple way is by improving the synergy especially in terms of partnering with public, with the civil society organizations, the vigilante and source of information, and to be transmitted into operations. So tactical operations should also be utilized, the available sources of generating informations and rebuilding the confidence of the public that the security are ready to provide protection for the information they provided. If otherwise, definitely we are going to drill back to where we are, which we are not praying for.
All right, Dr. Gezo, we thank you very much for having time to
Thank
be
you
with
for
us
having
in
me.
this program. AIG Wilson Idalegu, we thank you.
Inalegu.
Yes, we thank
Wilson Inalegu.
you. Inalegu, yes.
Yeah,
thank
it's
you
very simple.
Yeah.
Inalegu. Go down with your voice.
Yeah, thank you very much for
Pleasure,
joining us in this program, and we really appreciate your contributions.
Thank you.
Yes, I also wish to thank Air Commodore Edward Gokwe, the spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force, for joining us in the program via Zoom. I also wish to thank retired Brigadier General Kuka Sheka for your well-informed contribution to this program. We thank you for joining. Viewers, this is where we come to the end of the program, which we discuss recent security operatives exploits that has brought peace and tranquility across Nigeria. We all have responsibility to give our own part of the bargain in order to make our country safe for all. This is where we come to the end of the program, and I hope you join us tomorrow. I am Hamza Idris.